Hey guys, what's going on? Crypto Clay here, and today we're going to be taking more of a philosophical approach to today's topic. We're going to be talking about decentralization versus centralization and what it means to the cryptocurrency market as a whole. A lot of people get this word wrong. A lot of people use it incorrectly when they're talking about different things, and I want to discuss exactly what it means for crypto, what it means as a whole, and where it came from, because a lot of people act like this is a brand new word, that it's a brand new thought, but it's actually been around for a couple of hundred years, and it came from the French Revolution. A lot of people don't really know that, but the definition of decentralization on Wikipedia says that it's the process by which the activities of an organization, particularly those regarding planning and decision making, are distributed or delegated away from a central authoritative location or group. Now, let's just break that down a little bit and talk a little bit about what that means. A lot of people, when the French Revolution was going on, you know, the French Revolution was basically the people rising up against the patriarchy. And during that time, people wanted to be able to vote on different proposals, different things that were brought about in the government. And at that time, they didn't have that power. So a lot of the rebellion was based on the fact that they wanted their own liberties to be able to vote on these changes that were being made within their government. And that idea of liberty, libertarianism, decentralization all came about around the same time. And with that, new words started popping up in both French and English. And by the early 1800s, we had the word centralization. So that's where that comes from. And if you look back at the history of Bitcoin, it kind of coincides a lot with the word decentralization, the whole libertarian movement that came about at the beginning of Bitcoin. The 2008 housing market collapse had a huge role in Satoshi Nakamoto building Bitcoin. He wanted to show the world that fiat currencies, that government backed currencies, are not the way forward. In fact, he wanted to point out the fact that the whole housing market collapse was based on the greed of both banks and the government. And so, if you really look at why Bitcoin became popular in those early days, it was because a lot of those libertarians that got involved had the same ideas about big government, about greedy bankers, basically trying to stick it to the man. And that's the whole idea, the premise of what grew that initial base of Bitcoin users. So let's get back to the topic at hand, decentralization versus centralization. If you go to a bank at 9 o'clock at night, chances are that bank is going to be closed. And the reason for that is because the centralized powers that be decided that the bank will be closed at that time. And you don't have a say in whether or not that bank opens in order for you to go and pull cash out. Now, you can go to an ATM, but obviously ATMs have limits, which is another rule that was put in place by the centralized bankers. However, counterpart, if you look at cryptocurrencies, if you want to trade millions of dollars in a second at 9 o'clock at night, you can absolutely do that because cryptocurrencies are a 24/7, 365 day a year network with 100% uptime depending on the network that you're using, obviously. And we have both proof of work networks and proof of stake networks. The beauty of decentralization in Bitcoin and Ethereum and other networks like it is the fact that anybody around the globe can spin up a mining rig and participate in upgrade proposals that will be put forth to the network. If the majority of miners on those networks decide to roll with the update, then the update will be put in place and that upgrade will roll out on the network for all of the users to use. So that is the beauty of decentralization in crypto versus centralization. Same with the New York Stock Exchange. There are rules set in place by the centralized governing body that decided that you cannot trade on the weekends and you cannot trade after closing of the stock exchange. And that's just another example of centralization. Whereas, take cryptocurrencies, for example, you can go and trade on any exchange online 24/7. That's another beautiful thing about decentralization because people around the world decided that they wanted to be able to trade at any given time. And there are people all around the world using these networks. So I wanted to take some time with this video to just really explain where this word came about, how it plays into the cryptocurrency market, and kind of clear up some of the misnomers with decentralization. A lot of people use this word to describe just different aspects of networks when the network itself is not decentralized. If you take a look at a lot of these proof of stake networks that are still in their infancy, they are very centralized infrastructures. If you only have several validators that are validating on a blockchain, it is not decentralized. Solana, for example, is a great example of a very centralized network. If the creators of the blockchain can shut it down at any given time, it is not decentralized. So we really need to be careful with the words that we are using and make sure that we're using them correctly, because a value of a word is everything in this space. So hopefully this clears some things up. I hope I explained a little bit about what decentralization is to some newer users and maybe those that have been around for a little while that, see that word used all the time but never really know what it means. But that's going to be it for this video today. If you enjoyed today's video, please hit that like button. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. It really helps my channel grow. Thanks for watching, guys. Crypto Clay out.